Hey guys, welcome back. So this video is going to be about the chicken coop and some of the improvements, I guess, or additions I'm going to do to it. This is, chicken wire, and I'm going to cut this in half and then run this along the side of the coop on the outside, so if an animal comes up and tries to dig down and get under the wall of the coop, there will be a foot of wire that they'll run into. I'm hoping, and I don't think an animal's then smart enough to move back 6 or 8 or 12 more inches to dig and go under. They can find that obstacle anywhere along the edge, they dig and they'll stop. I did bury the fencing on the side of the coop down about 6, maybe 8 inches in some spots. But along the inside, the chickens have, scratched away the edges. So it's less secure. It would be easier to dig through, I think, if that makes sense. I can kind of show you what I'm talking about. But I would use this, but I had an extra piece of this, and it'll be about the right length to go, once I cut it in half, to go along one side of the coop. I figured I may as well use it up. It's going to be small enough to keep out anything that's going to harm the chickens. And it's less expensive than this, if I have a different use for this down the road. Now, this will have to be replaced or covered again every few years, 3 or 4 years, I suppose, because this will eventually just rust away to nothing. But, that's not going to be hard to do. So let's get started. So you might have seen the earpiece in my ear. I think I've said it in other videos, but what I'm going to do is I'm just going to go through and snip this. I'm not going to get the electric tool out for this short piece. It would be more hassle to do that. But I've talked about in other videos how I like to listen to music while I'm working. And I've had a couple videos get copyright strikes of them because there's music playing in the background. And then I don't make money on the videos, but somebody else then does when they copyright strike it. So the way around that for me is to put the earbud in, and I can listen to music in one ear while I'm working. And that's good enough for me. I know it might look a little goofy, but I want to enjoy what I'm doing, and music is good to have it going in my ear. So I'm just going to continue to do this. And I'll bring you back when it's split in two. Okay, I found my bucket of miscellaneous stakes for doing Christmas decorations and Halloween and stuff outside. And some of these are bent, but for what I'm going to use them for, they're going to be just fine. So to start, I'm just going to level out some of the debris that's come out of the coop. So all I'm going to do is lay this out. And I only need to go this far because it's kind of pin it down. And just run it right along the edge of the coop. And eventually, this will just kind of, grass will come up through it, and this will kind of just work its way into the dirt a little bit, to grab the other piece and pin these down together and run it the rest of the way up. Okay. So I want to overlap it just a little. Get this in there. There. Suppose you could take metal coat hangers, clothes hangers, and bend them into U shapes and pin this down too. Alright, so you get the idea, that's all I'm doing here. And I've got a lot more stakes, so I'll grab more. I wasn't sure how many I need, but I want to be able to take the mow over it, like I said, so I don't want pieces sticking out. And some of that might bend down and not be a problem. Alright, let me show you around a little bit the coop. Okay, the latest addition is this waterer. I wanted something easy for, you know, a neighbor to take care of chickens and water them if we're gone. They can collect eggs easy enough, but if you have to pull 5-gallon buckets out, that's kind of a pain. I did make a video on this, and something went wrong loading it, and it's gone. I don't have it anymore because I deleted it from my memory card before it finished loading to YouTube. And then when it loaded to YouTube, there was a problem, so it's gone. Anyway, it works pretty simply. If you watch the other videos, you know I like to use the little red nipples on the bottom, but this is debris proof. Stick the hose down there, fill it. Easy enough for anyone to do without having to lift the buckets of water. And then you just tighten this back down. When it starts to freeze and be winter, I'll just let this go empty. I have 2 other waterers, 2 5-gallon waterers, another one out in the coop, or out in the run, and another one in the coop. So there'll be plenty of water in the winter inside. Alright. The whole coop is covered in this hardware cloth, 1/2-inch hardware cloth. The whole run is. And then I put the 1x pickets on all the way around just to block it, so it's, you know, neighbors don't have to look at them, and I don't know. It covers the wire. So it covers the wire. It's just another added layer of protection. It looks a little bit better than just a wire run. You know, I do live in town. I don't want to upset neighbors with something that looks bad. So I put 2 sliding windows in, and then over the screen I put more hardware cloth just to protect it, so an animal couldn't go through the screen. I don't know what animal would get to that point, but I just wanted to make sure. And when the boys are playing ball or the girls are playing ball in the yard and they're throwing balls around, that helps protect the window from being broken. And then you can see that the coop is actually built on a concrete foundation. So I only need the wire along this side because there's paving block on one side. As you can see here, just patio blocks, and they're not put in anything fancy. It was just that tended to get muddy from walking through. It's a trail. So I grabbed them from a neighbor that wasn't using them. Well, I paid him for them, but I just quickly laid them down. Nothing fancy. You can see the metal roof. That's all from the cabin, from the dented roof we took off the cabin, and I scrapped out what I could to use for a roof here. So it's got a green metal roof on it. And then you can see, because of the green roof on there, water would drip down off the roof and cause a problem in the pen. You know, it would run off. In the winter, when snow melts, it would slough off onto the fence, and that's a lot of weight on there. So I ran just a roof, basically, and put steel on it so it falls on the roof. Then that falls towards where we're standing right now to drain any water. Just protects it, and it gives them a little more of a protected run when they're outside, so they can come out in the rain, and the only place they actually will have water running down is right here. Same with snow. It stays fairly clear inside because it's covered, but there's plenty of circulation all the way around. So here's the other sliding window. Pretty self-explanatory, same as the other one. This is just a solid window for light, and again, there's wire over it so it doesn't get broken when they're playing ball. And that's just a window I replaced in a person's garage, and that's just a scrap window from it. So the coop looks bigger than it is because this is also, it's connected to the lumber kiln. And I'm sure I've showed this at least a little in other videos, but I don't do quite as much now as I used to. Milling my own lumber just because I have such a stockpile of it. But this is the lumber kiln. Another reason I guess I wouldn't use it right now is I'm actually storing some walnut in here. That's all black walnut to be made into something. And I have a few pieces of furniture that I've picked up to repair or turn them into something else. So I guess this is morphing into a kiln build as well. This is on a concrete slab with visqueen plastic underneath so moisture can't come through the concrete. Then it's insulated with batt insulation, and then this foil lined insulation over top of that. You want it, airtight essentially. You want it pretty tight, but you don't want the moisture to soak into stuff. So, if that was all paper, the humidity would get to it when you're drying stuff out. And then I apply heat, just a space heater and a dehumidifier running at the same time, and we get the lumber where you need to be. You can see even the door is heavily insulated because you want to be able to get the temperature up. And then on this side there's concrete again, so an animal can't bore under there. So it's pretty well protected. The door is made of 1x, actually these are furring strips, sandwiched together. And then the hardware cloth runs between them. And that's just a rectangle frame with support across the middle, and then I put on pieces of plywood to firm it up and make it a good solid door. And that's just a simple match. Similar door on the inside, except instead of hardware cloth I used plywood, and in the wintertime that door gets closed. So there's that door. It's built essentially the same way, but there you go. I insulated the inside of the coop because I keep it heated, or relatively heated, with a heat lamp during the winter. And that silver stuff, the chickens peck at it and end up eating it. So I have to, over time, I've covered with pieces of plywood If it's paper, they'll eat it right away. It doesn't, these reflective stuff, they kind of left alone and then eventually started pecking at it. But if it's just bats, they'll, paperback, they'll eat right through that immediately. And then I have this ceiling insulated with pink styrofoam and some bats. So we have electricity run out here. I buried a conduit for electricity, so we have lights. If I want more egg production in the winter, you're coming out at night to do chores. And then there are 3 nesting boxes. 3 nesting boxes there. I keep a garbage can in here with food. If I'm going to have somebody feed it, or the kids, we're going to throw some scoops of food in here, I'll keep a bag of food in there. They can just scoop out into the feeder here. If I'm doing it, I just fill a 5-gallon bucket in the garage with feed and pour it in the top. It's easier than scooping scoop by scoop. But you can also see there's a water over there. The roost actually lowers and raises, so I can raise it for easy cleaning. And that's pretty much everything there is made out of just scrap stuff I had sitting around. So that's it, guys. That's kind of a quick rundown of it. Hopefully this is a short enough video. Let me know what you think. If there's any other ideas you have to make things a little better or a little nicer in places that are simple and easy. As it is, they're treated pretty well, heated and all that stuff during the winter. So, but let me know what you think, and we'll see you on the next one. Remember, if I can do it, you can do it.